Then the hero of the story eliminates the monster. The system shows him a notice. You have hunted a monster of a high level. Rare. The name of the monster is the three-headed Graydon. Performance Award. The title, Who Killed the Three-Headed Graydon? The hero of the story says, this is a person who is a monster. The hero of the story is surprised by the title. The first title. The system appears and tells him an incredible achievement. A rare rank. You have hunted a monster of a high level. That has a difference of more than 100 levels. Performance Award title. The hero of the story says about getting titles. But when you think about the problem, the hero of the story looks at the monster and finds that he obtained a book from the monster after he killed him. Notice from the system, the Book of Immortality, a single rank, rare writing skills. The hero of the story says that a single rank is rare, so I will not die unless my head is completely destroyed. All my wounds will heal slowly, so as long as I protect my head, this simply means that I am immortal. She says that healing is slow. The hero of the story says, was it a legendary rank? I haven't seen it in play at home yet. If carriers see this skill, they will definitely want it. It is very rare, at the same level with the heroic and legendary rank. Most importantly, that notification from the system, do you want to get the only rare rank in the world? The hero of the story makes a purchase and says it gets better. The skill heals. Explanations. The hero of the story says, wow, my health seems to be returning. Notification from the system first level crusher. Common rank. All cases increased by 5 units. It says great. If I am in common rank, this means I have been promoted to a higher level. The system shows three-headed garden assassin. Rare rank increased. The hero of the story says, it's not bad. I think if he's a good girl, that three-headed Gordon. Well, now, should I go in and take a look? A group of players are making an appearance. They're called the Players Association, the Extermination Team. One of the players says, a player has been found. She says to him, a boy, I am from the Players Union. She looks and says, what is this now? A high-level monster is destined to appear. The Red Wolf's dungeon orders them to evacuate the dungeon as soon as possible. The boy says, President of the Extermination Society, Shen Yun. The number of players who died is actually a 2-digit number. One of them says, is this true? The President of the Extermination Society says, it is. Have you discovered any other entities that have been classified as high-pain monsters? After examining it, the player says that it is just the Red Wolf. One of them says, one of them was found. The player says something. Which way are they going? And how many are there this time? He says that one person, Shane. After that, they head towards the goal, whose presence they felt. One of the players says, what is this? What is this that I feel? The hero of our story looks at them and finds that they have expensive equipment. He says, how amazing are the people? Are they at a high level? He looks at their equipment and finds it very shiny. Shane says to him, are you okay? The hero of our story told her that he is fine. She tells him, I was hurt. Have you met that man? The hero of the story says with surprise that the man tells him that he is a high-level monster, which you cannot find in the wolf dungeon. He says to himself, I have already killed him. Did the association discover Arjun's presence? He tells her, yes, she met him. She asks him where that young man is. Is he still close? She gives him treatment and says, this is too much for someone who barely managed to survive. This will help your injury heal. He says to himself that the treatment is very expensive, and the system tells him a modern, arranged treatment dose. You tell him that you can put it in your hand to treat your injury. So our whole story before. This is something I want to tell you about, and it is about the monster that you met. Shane says to him, yes, tell me about him please. The hero of the story tells her, he was a huge cheetah, and he had 2 sons. Shane says a monster like this has never been seen before. It was as big as a big house. He passed this way. Shin thanks him for telling her. After that, they head towards the face at high speed, and the hero of our story says, I got the good things. Shin and her companions reach the end of the dongo. One of them said, Do you think he went to the other side through the gate? We do not know when he will attack us again. While one of the saliva is thinking and saying, let us report what happened to the Union. This is incomprehensible. We will report it. Shane asks her friends, do you think that the person we met got out safely after losing all the members of the Union? It seems that he was barely able to get out. Shin tells them to wait here. Someone asks her where she's going. She says something. I can't stop thinking about the one who hurt himself. I'll go check on him, if he's okay. One of the players tells her that he knows the way out. She says to him, but he is alone, and perhaps he will be in danger. Well, we will wait here. She thanks them. After that, she goes quickly to look for the hero of our story. But he called to the end of the cell and did not find him. She says, maybe it is. The events move to the hero of our story. He has arrived at his home. He looks at the wound on his hand and says that the effect is better than I expected. Although the recovery time of the inhibitor is slow, this is consistent with the healing skill. He is comfortable on the couch after that. His mother calls from outside and says to him, you look tired. He says to himself, I used a lot of points today. He tells his mother, there is nothing worrying. Maybe it is because I worked a lot today. He asks their mother to prepare some food for him. His mother says to him, you didn't even eat lunch. What were you doing? But I will prepare something quick for you. Just wait a little. In a little while, things will become more difficult if the situation remains like this. His sister calls his mother and tells her, Sean is at home. He tells her that there was an accident in the cell. His mother says, what happened? Many people died. The story tells itself that they are deleting the people who escaped and they will be classified as missing. The information has not been updated yet. His mother says that's why you're here early. But he tells her not to worry. I didn't even see what happened there. He says to him, this work is what I expected, that you are doing this work because of us. He interrupts his mother, telling her that he is doing the work because he loves it. The hero of the story says that it is fun to hunt monsters in the dango. As he becomes stronger, the agencies close the dango temporarily, while a team of security guards and unions inspect the dango. They say that the security guard was killed because they could not protect themselves, while one of them looks at the traces of the three-headed monster inside. But they do not find any trace of the monster. A player who specializes in tracking monsters appears before us, Kim Dong-soo. Shin tells them that there is really a three-headed monster in the dungeon, but we searched carefully and did not find anything. The investigator thinks and says, I don't know how this happened either. I will try to track it down through the remaining traces of money. Shin decides that she will go with him. The investigator seems relieved that Shin is with him. While she is doing her work to the scene of an accident, he asks her, is this the place where players of the same level as me were attacked while hunting? She tells him that they went this way. It seems that the investigator has supernatural power in his eyes. He looks at the scene of the battle and says, this seems strange. The three-headed monster attacked one of the players, but he did not die from a single blow. He moved away from the blow, and the battle continued. The game he was fighting did not. The investigator says, I can feel the effects of the flame magic. They are still strong even after this. It seems that their agility is very high. It seems that the players who fought the three-headed cheetah were magic sword users. The investigator examines the traces with his hand. The cheetah was seriously injured. It seems that he has exhausted all his energy. Then go to the place of the fighting. The investigator tells her that the fighting happened here. Shin is surprised that he is here. The investigator tells her, yes, I was sure that they were of the magical type. But this is not the problem, as a battle took place near here, and ending the life of the cheetah. 30 heads, with a magical skill. It seems that they are definitely magic players. Given the absence of the cheetah's body, it seems that it turned into a magic stone, or a water element. Shane says to herself, impossible. He hunted the dangerous dang monster alone. What does this investigator mean when he told her that the level of a player among them has reached 24, and their levels are not even at the level of the monster? They are not even part of the security team. The security team is at the gate. Tell the investigator that there is no one other than the current players. He asks her, "Is there not a player who recently obtained a license?" She tells him that among the people who entered the dungeon here, there were not any players who received full support from. The investigator says, "How strange this is. Even if a very strong player was able to eliminate 3 heads, there is no reason for experts, like them who are accompanied by the low-level hunter. Something tells him that there is no way to track down the player who defeated the cheetah." The investigator tells her that there may be a chance, but he will try. As a result of the game, she disappeared immediately after the battle. It will be difficult to trace her, and that the layout of the dungeon is not suitable for tracking, but I cannot trace the steps of the battle between the players and the cheetah. Huge, high-level monsters leave a trail behind them as soon as they stop. The investigator tells Shin that these footprints are compared to players who move with all solidity and agility. In such simple battles, there are rarely any traces of anyone. In addition, there are no traces of the user's skill after the battle. If he used any skill, I could track the mana trends of the skill. Shin says that if there is a player like this, he must be subject to the authority and control of the Hunters Guild. We cannot lose another talent. The Players Guild is managed by several nations, and on the other hand, there are private organizations during the first stage. The number of players was very large, and its abilities were among the best over time, and with the loss of players, the guild became weaker and weaker, and in return, the private and owned guilds were growing more and more. They did not have that knowledge to understand the towers, the players, and the monsters. The people who headed the Federation of Trade Unions were corrupt politicians who paid low costs and fees to the players under a false slogan in the name of patriotism, and at that time began to deceive the players. The private unions working against the Federation used their wealth to finance high-cost contracts for players and began promising players large sums of money. Later, the union began a process of restructuring and began collecting players and presenting offers. The former politicians began to fall one after the other. After that, a place was left around the corrupt. The internal restructuring was completed, and the new players moved to the market. With the promise of providing equal payment to the players, we have only expanded in number, so when we compare with the best wolf guilds, we still suffer. After that, the organization sends them a list of people who have entered, which says something, that the player has definitely increased in potential and strength. The hero of our story decides that he will stop hunting in the Red Wolf Dango, and I must clean all the dungeons near my house. In any case, the hero of our story searches in her phone and finds that the Red Wolf Dango is present throughout Korea. The hero of our story leaves their house and says, "How will I develop this skill?" There is no information on the subject of developing skills on the internet. He shows the Book of Immortality, a rare and unique rank, and says, "I cannot use this skill continuously, but it is a passive skill." He then goes to the hotel to rest and says, "I need a way to hide the large number of magic stones. I cannot trust these players from the Players Guild who you met at the entrance to the dungeon. I must avoid the eyes of the guild employees. They say that the reason they inspect the sector is because they are afraid that some people will bring fake items, such as monster eggs or fake plant seeds. But in order not to make the players evade their taxes, there is an agreement with me." After that, the hero of our story searches the system for a way to hide the stones. He finds items for sale, a rare space, an active skill book, only for players who have a master in the skill book. You can open a space, the hero of the story says, but the skill is necessary. The system notifies him, telling him that the skill book is an area of space. Do you agree to purchase a rare skill of a high level? Note, when you purchase this item, you cannot return it or exchange it. Do you in story? He does not buy it. The system tells him, do you want to learn to activate the rare skill book? He decides, yes. He does so by extracting the writing and extracting the space skill. The hero of our story is surprised by the skill. He looks at it and says that it is larger. He says it's a little bigger than the room I used to live in. He then decides that he's going fishing, but he covers his face and presents the card to the guard. The guard looks at it and says to him, "Wait, you're Sean, aren't you? The hero of the story enters the dungeon of the wolves. He hunts the valley of the wolves. Poetry from the system. An incredible achievement. Rare grade. Hunt 1000 monsters alone. The Red Wolf. High level. Achievement award. Description. Rare grade. He says this is fine. Remember, in a way, that the guard took his fingerprints before entering the dungeon. Entering the dungeon was smooth. He also took out the space skill and collected the mana falling from the monsters. It moves between the events to one of the unions. One of them says, "Is there someone who has attracted attention?" The guard tells him it is difficult to obtain information after he hid it so well. It seems that they have tracked down the hero of our story. An employee tells them, "I think the person we need is giving him information about the affairs of the hero of the story." He tells him that he was able to enter many dungeons of level 20 to 15 in less than 2 months. He did all that alone. I think he has surpassed the level. It seems that some agencies are negotiating to buy Sean. Some agencies ask for 100 million. One to contract with Sean, the hero of our story, but they do not provide such fees for affairs before he presents the case window first. And then they have to, one of the union members said. Of course, it is not permissible at that time to change the printing press easily. Someone says, because of this ridiculous mistake, we lost an emerging talent like Kim Hannah. The guild manager says, I will not make the same mistake again. That person was nothing more than a leader on the front lines of a guild. You can recover the money from him later if you find him. Through a mistake after seeing his status window, he signs the paper and tells him to go directly to Hyen Sung and try to get close to him. If he signs the agreement, send him 100 billion directly. An employee says, are you really going to give them? He tells him to pay attention to the terms of the contract, so that you can get the money back again. One of the employees says, maybe I will become the union leader after solving this problem. The hero of our story goes to sell the stones of, meaning that he obtained. But he did not sell all the stones. The employee tells him, the stones have been verified. The hero of our story says to him, thank you for your work. He says to himself, I can't avoid the attention of the Seo Wu Guild. After several days have passed, it seems that he has finished hunting monsters. The system tells him, I have hunted a high-level monster, the Red Wolf, 10,000 times. Achievement. Reward title Red Wolf Slayer. Legendary rank, says I. Should finish work here today and start organizing my elements. The hero of the story gets a book, but he says, this is a duplicate paste. He looks at the second prize and finds that he got a new skill. Winds of Renewal. Popular classification. The book of passive skills increases the renewal rate. He says, I finally got it. This is a common skill book that even ordinary people want to learn. He turns on the learning skills, but the system tells him that he failed to learn the passive skill book. Winds of Renewal. The hero of the story was upset by the news and said, why did you fail to learn the skill? I have never heard of a person failing to learn any skill. The system shows a notification to the hero of the story telling him that the book of passive skills, the book of immortality, unique rare, rank has absorbed the winds of passive regeneration, and tells him that the book of immortality, unique rare, rank is a growth-able rank. The hero of the story looks at the system and says, what just happened? It hasn't changed, but she said that the book of immortality has grown. But how much has it actually grown? He takes out his sword to see how much his regeneration skill is capable of, and cuts one of his fingers. He says there is no big difference. It was an expensive skills book, estimated at 30 million won. The efficiency is very low. The story card leaves the cell. He receives a call from an unknown number. He says, is it an unwanted caller? He answers it, and tells him, I'm sure I told you not to call again unless you are thinking about fulfilling my request. He tells him that they accepted the request. Let's meet now to sign the contract. He says to him, are you serious? He tells him, yes. Given that we are talking about something like this, the hero of the story tells him that he is still fishing now, so it will be difficult to meet you now. Can you send me the contract first? He sends him the contract. The hero of the story tells him that he will contact him after he verifies the contract. After that, he changes. It seems that the hero of our story is upset by the news. Then go to the lawyer's office to review the contract. Lawyer Lee Young-chul told him that the lawyer said that this contract has very favorable terms. You have been well taken care of as well, but there are many homes that may. The lawyers are referring to some of the clauses that, unless they are adhered to, the union could be put in a bad position. The contract will be cancelled, or he will be held accountable in a judicial manner. He asks what these clauses are. Tell the lawyer that this part, if the union member is a member, will cause harm. This condition is as bad as the previous one. He wonders. I do not know to what extent. The contract bonus was supposed to be very important. And if it happened that the contract was cancelled due to the player's mistake. He says here, you need to pay the contract bonus 10 times. The hero of the story is upset by the contract. The lawyer tells him that he must adjust the break fee to be equal to the contract bonus, and also asks that the bad clauses be removed. This will be the best way forward. He receives a call from the SEO union, telling the lawyer, "Hello, Mr. Choi, how are you? I am calling you about the bonus for that contract. What about reaching the average price of 500 million won? Tell the hero of the story that the amount may be the problem. The bonus I wanted was 1 billion, not half a billion." The union manager tells him, "I know this well, but you have to think about this realistically. Even the CO Wu Guild, which is known as a large union, is difficult for us to pay this amount of money. To be honest, the amount of half a billion was an amount that required me to beg those in high positions. I did not make them agree to it. I told him that he would consider his offer, but before that, could I see that contract again?" He told him, "Of course, I will send it to you immediately." He hangs up the call. He then goes to the lawyer and says to him, "Are you finished negotiating?" He says to him, "Yes, I am done." The lawyer says to him, "Can I take a look at this at the moment? It seems that you are a truly valued player." He gives him the phone and prints the contract. The lawyer looks at the contract and asks him, "This from the same union as the previous contract?" He asks him, "How did you know this?" The lawyer tells him that the general form of the contracts is the same. There are only some small differences. The hero of the story asks the lawyer, "Why does the same union issue different contracts?" The lawyer answers him, "I think there are some conflicting internal parties in the union that want to recruit you. If they send different contracts, it seems that the difference between them is very large. This is useful for you. If you can exploit this well, you can get a better contract and conditions." The hero of the story says to the lawyer, "Can you make a contract similar to the first, without all those conditions that are not in my favor?" He says, "Of course I can." The hero of the story goes to the hotel to get a hold of him. He looks at the mobile phone and says, "It seems that the guild master and the deputy guild master are not agreeing. Guild master Ma Ji-hoon and deputy guild master Jung Seong. Should I mess around?" He calls, and the deputy director answers, "Hello, Mr. Choi, have you made your decision?" He tells him to think about it a little. The reward for signing the contract was very small. "Is it possible to make it 200 billion won?" The deputy director of the guild told him that it is difficult for him to confirm that now, but I think that it is possible. The hero of the story provoked him and said to him, "Then what about 300 billion games?" The manager did not believe it and said, "Is it possible that you are messing with me now?" The hero of the story says, No, telling you the truth. The team leader, Jin Sung, from the CO Wu Guild, contacted me first to recruit me, and in the name of that, it seems that the relationship between you two is very good." The vice director tells him, "Sure, we will pay more than what the team is offering." The hero of our story hangs up the call and says, "It seems they hate each other to the core." He then decides to call the team leader and says hello to me. The leader of the first team of the CO Wu Guild, Jin Sung, says to him, "Yes, Mr. Choi, have you checked the phone number?" Shui tells him frankly, "It was about to contact you directly. If the contract is signed," the union director says, "then let's meet immediately." He tells him, "But I think I don't need that anymore." The team leader asks him what you are saying specifically. Choi tells him that he sent him a contract, and they will talk after he reads the contract. The hero of the story tells him that next time, please contact me for an internal agreement first before contacting me, and after thinking about it a little, 100 billion rewards for signing the contract is very small. A guild manager says to them, "What are you saying?" He decides a little that he will increase the amount to 200 billion. This is a bit too little. For 300 billion, all of them are a guild manager. Are you messing with me now? Tell him that there is no need for that, if you are not interested. He says it's easy to edit audio files these days. He also sends the audio to another phone, and says it's time to change the phone. After a month of negotiation has passed, the deputy director appears, and he is wondering where he disappeared for a while. It is clear that he never showed himself in the cells that we manage. One of the employees tells him that they have sent someone to look for him. He says to him, "Is this all that is possible?" One of the guild members told him that after the audio file incident caused by Choi a month ago, the CEO Wu Guild was completely divided into two parts because of a clash between the guildmaster and the deputy. We were lucky enough to find Choi's login logs, but even we are a SEO guild, it is not good for us to read government-run logins whenever we want. With the problems within the guild, it was difficult to share internal information. This is not the problem. Now, Shui's traces have completely disappeared. The deputy director does her hair for him. Do you think he went to another union? He tells him, "I don't think so. Most likely." He tells him that he does not want to see him now, and that he should leave.